Hey everybody, wake up. This is Wake Up with Mark Joyner, episode number 117. And today I will teach you how business service providers con you. All right, so first off, man, I'm feeling good. Just got my morning routine done as I always do. Feel amazing. Great way to start your day when you actually do something physical, get your blood flowing, get your body moving correctly, get your thoughts aligned correctly, and just understand what's important and what's not. Then you can charge forward and attack your day. If you don't take command of this, your life is going to take command of you. That actually has a lot to do with today's topic. So, there are business service providers out there and even governments who are promising things to you, and they want you to buy those things. Now, not everybody in government is evil. It's a lot of them, but not all of them. Not everybody in business is evil. There are good people in business, and not every person is either all good or all evil. We all have the potential inside of us. There's that Indian proverb, of the two wolves. We've got two wolves inside of us, and the one that you feed is the one that's going to thrive. And we can choose every day of the week, every moment of our lives, which one to feed. Some of us are feeding one more than the other. And, I'm not here to judge people who have chosen to feed their dark wolf more than their light wolf. That is not for me to do. However, it is for me to discern so that I can protect myself. Now, in the business service provision world, you will see all varieties of this. They are not all black and white. There are many, many shades of gray, and there are many, many ways that this game is played. At a foundational level, the con game, all right, is about confidence. It's short for confidence game. They get your confidence. They get you to believe that they can do something for you. You put your trust in them, and then you realize after it's too late that you put your trust in the wrong person. Okay, that's only foundationally what's going on. Okay, there are other things they do to your mind as well. And I tell you what, I don't normally take notes for a discussion like this, but I wrote down on a little notepad here 6 different axes upon which you can judge the behavior of people to determine whether or not they are trying to con you or not. You can judge your politicians like this. You can judge your business service providers like this. One thing that they will do that is very, very potent is that they will get you to believe that you need them. You cannot survive without them. This is how, by the way, a dominatrix will dominate her slave. Okay, I happen to know a woman who did that professionally. There are men who want to be slaves. I cannot understand that for the life of me. That will take probably some serious psychological deep dives to understand, why a dude wants that. I mean, you can get into the Nietzschean master and servant dynamic, whole other topic. But, this woman explained to me that, part of what she does is she gets that slave to believe that he needs her. And once he believes that, he will do anything for her. Now, a business service provider, once they get you to believe that you need them, they can push any kind of onerous term on you and you will accept it because you are desperate. You think, well, I have to accept these terrible terms because without them, how am I going to survive? How am I going to survive? That, by the way, is how government also cons us. There are many in government who want us to be dependent on the government. This is completely contra to the foundational principles upon which my country, the United States, was founded. We were supposed to be, so the story goes, a nation where we could foster independence in people, have a weak federal government, have stronger state governments, allow more autonomous rule, okay, so that people could solve things on their own, so that they could make their own decisions, so that they don't have a nanny or a tyrant over them telling them what's what. Okay, so the more you become dependent on anything, the more you are its bitch. And you don't want to be something's bitch unless that's what you want to be. Again, there are men who will pay women to be their dominatrix. They want to be their slave. They want that. It might be worth talking about that psychology for a minute. If you look at the Nietzschean notion of master and servant, the servant likes to be the servant because they don't want to have the responsibility. They want somebody else to make choices for them. I wish I could remember who originally said this, but there's someone in the marketing community, and this has been echoed in many, many different ways, that said that everybody's looking for a place to hook up their umbilical cord, right? They're looking for a mama. Jay Abraham said, that the masses are silently begging to be led. So there are people out there who will take advantage of that. Now, is it wrong to take advantage of that, to use that in your marketing? I don't know. I mean, to a certain degree, I play with those dynamics. But here's the thing. I know that dynamic exists, and I can use it to get somebody involved in something that I'm doing. But from that point forward, it's my responsibility to attempt to develop independence inside of them. Even though that's a bad business move, one human to another, developing that person's independence is what I think creates a healthier society. The problem is we are so scared of loss. We are so scared of what's going to happen. Oh my God, this guy's going to learn my secret, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, that we stop thinking like that. We stop thinking of bettering ourselves and bettering each other, and we start thinking of like, ooh, I'd better hold on to my secrets, because to survive, I need this person to be dependent on me. That is a sick society, people. I don't want to live in a sick society like that. And the degree to which you are participating in that, you are either making society healthier or sicker. Now, another dynamic that you can look at is this provider disempowering you, or are they empowering you? Okay? All right. So if they are disempowering you, if they are telling you that without me, you cannot survive, right? So that's, it's very similar to, the dependence and independence, but it's getting into your self-esteem. Okay. It's like, hey, you're nothing. You're nothing without me. You should stop, having confidence in yourself. And to do this, they will gaslight you. They will say things that are confusing. They'll say one thing and act in a certain way, and this messes up the brain. You're all of a sudden confused, and then when you feel like you're dependent on that person, and then you are taught by that person that you are not worthy of being independent, and they get you to doubt yourself, and they confuse you so much that you're feeling lost and confused. Well, there they are. They're ready for you to plug in the umbilical cord. Okay, so are they disempowering you, or are they empowering you? That's something very, very potent to look at. And another one is are they coming at you from a place of fear or from a place of love? If it's all about fear, all right, if they are getting you to fear losing them, if they are getting you to fear what your business would be like without them, if the government official is getting you to fear what life would be like without them as your holy savior, then this is yet another red flag. And again, I want to underscore, everybody is playing with these dynamics all day long. Not a single one of us on this planet is doing all of this stuff 100% correctly. We all fuck up. We're all flawed. We're all messed up. But the question is what choices are you making in your life as an individual, and how is that other person conducting themselves. And when you see how that other person is conducting themselves, again, not for me to, you can judge them if you want. I choose not to, endeavor at least, not to judge them too harshly. I can look at them and say, it seems like this person is an egomaniac and is going to make a lot of problems in my life and is not reasonable. However they got to that point in their life, that's the journey they took. They're there, but I do need to know that that is their tendency and their pattern, and that I have to be very, very careful to avoid any interaction with them, or certainly have to avoid dependence on them. Now, another thing that you can look at here is, are they filling you full of confidence in them, okay, or are they giving you actual proof? Now, this is one you have to be very, very careful about, because not all proof is proof. In fact, is there even such a thing as proof? This is a more profound philosophical question than most of us are aware on the surface. Can you actually prove something? In a closed system like mathematics or engineering, you can create an actual proof. But in open systems that are not imaginary systems like mathematics and engineering, these are systems that we designed to understand the world. Even though we can see signs of mathematical principles in nature, math is something we developed. It's a human invention. In this open system of the universe, I don't know of any way to prove something one way or the other. I know that there is evidence and that some evidence is stronger than other evidence, but can you prove something 100%? Now, the guys who are trying to con you will show you proof or evidence for their effectiveness. Testimonials are one powerful thing. Okay, so if you see a testimonial on a page, sometimes it's valid, sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes what people do is they get these testimonials from people in the moment while they're feeling a little bit, like in love with the person, right? And then before the con is revealed, the testimonial was shot. So be very, very careful about this. You can manufacture this stuff. Okay, so, is there, really, really good evidence, or are they leaning more on the side of confidence? And when they're showing evidence, don't be completely taken in by it, because all kinds of evidence can be manufactured. Scientific evidence can be manufactured and faked. You're not checking it. Okay, when you read a sales letter and you see an annotation of science, you're not going into the journals and you're not looking most of the time, most of us. And even if you are, you're probably not able to understand it. You can read the abstract of a scientific paper, but that abstract may be just complete rubbish. It could be that the data was collected incorrectly. It could be that the data was falsified. It could be that the person who is in charge of that particular study knows that the evidence is not saying something, but they are paid to say something, so they're saying it, right? Or maybe they're doing it out of their own, their professorial academic hubris. If you don't get, a lot of, accolades in the scientific journals as a scientist, you're going to have a hard time. So often there is pressure there. And if people become famous for a particular hypothesis, they don't want to show counter evidence, because that is going to chip away at their fame. It's just human nature. Scientists are just as fallible as we are. Now, another thing to look at, which is very similar, is, are you seeing reality or are you seeing smoke? Okay. So, for example, in a contract negotiation, all right, if the reality of a contract negotiation is that on paper, the contract is not actually protecting you, but is protecting the other person, and then they blow lots of smoke up your ass about how important it is to trust them, right? Things like that. That's yet another very, very strong indicator you're dealing with somebody who doesn't necessarily have your best interest in mind. Let me tell you how ugly this can get. If you have not seen the film The Founder, go watch it. If you are a business owner of any kind and you have not seen that film, it is a must watch. There are all kinds of really interesting things to learn in that film. I'm going to spoil part of the ending for you. Okay, if you probably know the story of McDonald's anyway. But here's the crazy thing that happened. Okay, after Ray Kroc systemized and blew up McDonald's, the final negotiation he had with the McDonald's brothers, who actually founded the first McDonald's, and that Ray Kroc then expanded. I don't want to take away from Ray Kroc's amazing business acumen. The McDonald's brothers built something totally beautiful, but then Ray Kroc went and expanded it. But there is a side to Ray Kroc that was quite dirty. Okay, so at the end of the day, the McDonald's brothers, didn't want to have anything to do with Ray Kroc anymore. And they said, hey, look, we're going to sign it all over to you, but we need 1% royalties, in Perpetua. Well, what Kroc did was he said, hey, look, the board members just aren't going to let me sign that with that in the contract. So we're going to have to just do that on a handshake. Okay, now the McDonald's brothers accepted that handshake. And guess what? They never got paid a dime. Okay, they got $1 million in cash. They were supposed to get 1% royalties in Perpetua, and because that was negotiated on a handshake, they never got it. So no matter how smooth that talker is, if they are getting you to sign a contract that has provisions inside that do not protect you and could actually put you at great risk, danger, Will Robinson, danger, okay? Pay very, very close attention to that. And be very, very careful also if they keep talking about trust, if they keep telling you that, well, or if they shame you, or if they make you feel like you're a bad person for negotiating a contract. These are danger signs that you are dealing with people who don't have your best interest in mind. Now listen, sometimes this is just gamesmanship. Sometimes it's just part of the negotiation tactics. Not everybody who does this stuff is a bad person. But when you start to see lots of this stuff line up and lots of it stack up, then you're getting more and more evidence of the character of who you're dealing with and whether or not you should actually be in bed with this person. Now, the final thing to look at here is are they running their business like a cult, or are they fostering free thought in people? Okay? If they are running their business like a cult, that is, if the people in their organization are not allowed to be free thinkers, all right, that is a serious danger sign. Now, listen, to a certain extent, that is required in business. Okay, you need to have people who are on your side. If you listen to the book Play Bigger, they say get rid of the Zeds, get rid of the negative people. Totally true. I don't want negative people who are not on my side in my business either. However, I definitely want people who are capable of free thought. In the military, we are required to follow lawful orders. Lawful orders. Okay? If you are given an unlawful order, if you are asked to break the rules of the Geneva Convention, it is your duty as a soldier to question that. Now, this is in the military. Okay, so if in the military you are expected to question things that go against the very foundational principles upon which you are there to defend, if that is something that is built into the military, if you see even deeper signs of cultish behavior than that in a business, you got some real problems. Okay, so if people are out there and they've got enemies and it's this us against them thing, and you're either with us or against us, or you agree with me or you're the enemy, that kind of thing, you're in real trouble. You're in real trouble. Okay. Guys, everything that I just talked about describes cults, it describes business service providers, it describes governments, but some of these things are also their to smaller degrees in healthier organizations. These are human dynamics. And again, this isn't about saying people are good or bad or any judgment like that. It's about seeing reality as it is. That is what you have to do at the end of the day. That is when you are looking at a contract, you observe the provisions as they are. And the more smoke there is around those provisions, the more your spidey sense, the more your radar should be going off. See things as they are. See people for what they actually do. Don't get too taken in by the emotion. Don't get too conned, all right, by their charisma. And don't get too sold on the dream. This is the big thing that a service provider is going to have you do. They're going to get you so amped up about the possibilities. Oh, this is going to be so big. You're going to get this great result. And then when you don't get the result, they're still going to say, hey, it's a great start. Let's keep going. And they're going to have you on the hook and on the hook and on the hook. And eventually, you might realize, hey, wait a minute. I've been hooked by this forever. The big payoff has never come. You've been selling me on the big payoff. This, by the way, is how a lot of the conspiracy theory movements are so persistent, right? Because the big reveal, in the UFO community, there are guys out there who have been saying disclosure's right around the corner. In the conspiracy theory world, not that all of it's bad. I think there's a lot of the stuff that comes out of the conspiracy theory world that's actually quite true. It just happens to be labeled as conspiracy. I'm not saying it's all bad, but there is cult-like behavior in those communities. If it wasn't Y2K, it was 2012. There's always something around the corner to be freaked out about. There's something's about to happen, right? Right now with the whole Q thing, who knows what's actually going to happen with all of this? That's a very fascinating one to watch. But it's this declassification of the materials that are going to show all the baddies in the world. It's always right around the corner. I don't know about you, but I'm going to reserve my judgment until I actually see with my own eyes what happens. And that at the end of the day is the important thing, okay? Have confidence in yourself. Empower yourself. Think independently. See things as they actually are. Boom. You guys have a beautiful day. I'll talk to y'all